You think the people around you are happy for you. You think the smiles are real, the congratulations are genuine, the support is unconditional. You think that when you start winning, when you start building, rising, becoming, the people who claim to love you will cheer the loudest. They won't. The moment you begin to outgrow the version of yourself they were comfortable with, something shifts. Something dark moves beneath the surface of every relationship you've built. And most people never see it coming because they were never taught to look. Here's the truth no one will say to your face: your success is a mirror. And most people hate what it shows them. Once you understand this, once you truly see the psychology behind why people secretly turn against those who win, you will never be blindsided again. You will never shrink yourself to keep others comfortable. You will never confuse proximity for loyalty or silence for peace. This is not motivation. This is a map of human psychology. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The enemy is not someone who openly opposes you. You could handle that. The enemy is invisible. The enemy lives inside the psychology of the people sitting at your table, liking your posts, nodding when you speak. The enemy is a mechanism built into the human mind, a primitive algorithm that was never designed to celebrate your rise. Most people operate from a place of unconscious comparison. They don't choose to resent you. They don't sit down and decide to become your obstacle. It happens beneath language, beneath awareness. The moment your life begins to move, the moment there is undeniable evidence that you are becoming something, a switch flips in the people around you. The average person measures their worth by contrast. They feel good when they are keeping pace. They feel safe when the people around them are at the same level. They have built their entire identity on a quiet, unspoken social contract. We stay equal. We don't exceed each other. We keep the ceiling low enough that no one feels small. And then you break that contract. Not intentionally. Not aggressively. Simply by deciding to build your life with discipline and intention. And that decision alone is a threat. They want you to stay manageable. Not because they are evil. Because your growth exposes their stagnation. Your discipline indicts their excuses. Your silence judges their noise. You didn't say a word. But your results spoke for you. And they heard every syllable. 500 years ago, Machiavelli wrote that there is nothing more dangerous than introducing a new order of things. Not because the new order is wrong, but because those who benefit from the old order will become your enemies. And those who might benefit from the new order will only offer you lukewarm defense. He was writing about political power. But the psychology is the same at every level. When you begin to operate at a different frequency, when you start training, building wealth, sharpening your mind, refusing mediocrity, you are introducing a new order into your social environment. And the people who were comfortable in the old order will resist you. Sometimes loudly. Often quietly. Always consistently. History has never rewarded the man who waited for permission to rise. It has only rewarded those who understood that the opposition was part of the ascent. Write that down. After this, you will see people clearly. Not cynically. Not with hatred. But with clarity. The kind of clarity that makes you untouchable. The kind that ends the pattern of trusting performance over character, proximity over alignment, longevity over integrity. You will stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided what you are. You will stop shrinking to maintain relationships that were only comfortable when you were smaller. You will stop mistaking someone's investment in your failure for love. You will become impossible to manipulate. Because manipulation requires a target who needs something from you, your approval, your acceptance, your validation. And when that need dies, the leverage dies with it. You will not see people the same after this. That is not a threat. That is a gift. Number 1, they don't hate your success. They hate what your success reveals about their choices. Understand this mechanism completely. When someone looks at your discipline and feels anger, the anger is not actually directed at you. You are just the trigger. The real target is the voice inside them that has been whispering the same truth for years, that they could have done more, built more, become more. That voice is uncomfortable. It is embarrassing. It is painful to hear. And then you walk in, living as proof that it was possible. Your results activate their unresolved internal war. And instead of turning inward to face that war, they externalize it. They aim the discomfort at you. They reframe your discipline as arrogance. They translate your ambition into selfishness. They call your standards ego. Because if they can make you the problem, they don't have to face the real one. This is not complicated. This is self-protection. But it will be aimed at you like a weapon. The social observation is this: watch what people say about someone who rises. Listen carefully to the language. He thinks he's better than everyone. She changed. He forgot where he came from. These are not critiques of the person who rose. These are confessions from the people who stayed. The power reframe is this: when someone reframes your growth as arrogance, they are telling you something important. They are telling you that your presence alone is a disruption to their psychology. That means you are moving. That means it is working. Let the discomfort be confirmation. Do not explain yourself. Do not justify your growth to people who are allergic to it. Every time you stop to defend your ambition, you slow down. Every time you shrink to keep someone comfortable, you betray the version of yourself you are becoming. Comment: I don't justify my growth. Number 2, the closer they are, the more dangerous the resentment. This is the part that most people are not prepared for. They expect opposition from strangers, from competitors, from obvious enemies. What they do not expect, what genuinely breaks people, is the quiet resentment that builds inside their closest relationships. The psychology is precise. Intimacy creates expectation. And expectation creates a fragile contract. The people who were in your life before the rise built their relationship with a specific version of you. A version that was available in a certain way. A version that needed things they could provide. A version that confirmed something about their own value. When you change, when you start demanding more from yourself, when you start operating with structure and intention, that old version of you begins to dissolve. And the people who love that old version feel something that they cannot name. It is not quite abandonment. It is not quite jealousy. It is the specific grief of watching someone outgrow the role they played in your story. And grief, when it has nowhere to go, becomes resentment. Observe this: the people who pull you back with "you've changed" are not asking you to stay yourself. They are asking you to stay manageable. They are asking you to remain at a level where they can still understand you, predict you, and feel adequate beside you. "You've changed" translates precisely to, I no longer control the dynamic. The short scenario: you start training. You become consistent. Your body changes. Your schedule changes. Your focus changes. And someone close to you, someone who loves you, starts making small comments. Nothing direct. Just a slight edge. You're obsessed. You take this too seriously. You used to be more fun. Each comment is a small surgery. A small attempt to extract the version of you that was easier for them to be around. You have two options. You perform the retreat and confirm that your transformation is negotiable. Or you hold the position and reveal the relationship for what it is. The power reframe: if your growth ends a relationship, that relationship was not built for the version of you that you are becoming. This is not tragedy. This is filtration. The most important thing you will ever do is allow your ascent to reveal who belongs in your life and who belongs in your past. Burn this into your mind. Part 3. Silence during your rise is not strategy, it is survival. Most people announce. They announce intentions. They announce plans. They announce the early stages of transformation before the transformation is complete. And then they watch the energy in the room shift. They watch the subtle discouragement. The pointed questions. The "are you sure?" And that's risky, and I just don't want you to be disappointed. This is not concern. Or if it is concern mixed with something else: relief. The relief that you might not make it. The relief that you might come back to the level where the comparison was comfortable. The psychological mechanism here is called tall poppy syndrome. In environments where collective stagnation is the norm, The individual who rises becomes a threat to the equilibrium. The group, consciously or not, will attempt to cut the tall poppy back to the common height. Not through overt violence. Through consistent friction. Through small, plausible statements that introduce doubt. Through manufactured concern that functions as sabotage. Machiavelli knew this. Every general in history who moved in silence knew this. Power does not announce itself. Power builds, moves, and appears, fully formed, undeniable. The social observation is this: announcement is an invitation for interference. Every time you tell someone about the move before you make it, you open a window for their psychology to enter your process. And their psychology is not neutral. It is loaded with their fears, their limitations, their unconscious investment in your staying where you are. The command is this: seal the process. Not from fear. Not from paranoia. But from strategic discipline. Let people discover what you built. Let them hear about it after it is done. Let your results be the announcement. Let the silence be the moat. Comment: I move in silence. Number 4. The manipulation disguised as love. This is the most sophisticated attack you will face. It does not come with hostility. It comes with soft language, with expressed worry, with the performance of care. And it works precisely because you love the person deploying it. The structure is this: someone who is threatened by your growth will not come at you directly. They will wrap the attack in concern. They will frame the limitation as protection. They will use your emotional connection as the vector for the interference. I just worry about you. Translated: I cannot tolerate watching you succeed at what I have not attempted. I don't want you to get hurt. Translated: I need you to stay small enough that I don't have to confront my own capacity. You're not being realistic. Translated: your reality is making mine uncomfortable. This is not evil. It is deeply human. But understanding it is not cruelty, it is self-defense. When you can identify the structure beneath the soft language, you can receive the love that is genuinely present while disengaging from the manipulation that is attached to it. The power reframe is this: love and manipulation can exist simultaneously in the same person. Recognizing the manipulation does not require you to stop loving them. It requires you to stop taking strategic direction from them. You are not unkind for protecting your vision from someone else's fear. You are not cold for refusing to shrink because someone's psychology requires your limitation. You are simply choosing your life over their comfort. That is not a crime. That is sovereignty. And the emotional truth beneath this: the people who manipulate you with love are not doing it consciously. They genuinely believe they are protecting you. Which is what makes it so dangerous. Because you cannot reject a weapon if you believe it is a gift. Identify the structure. Honor the person. Reject the limitation. Write that down. Number 5. Isolation is the price of elevation. Pay it. At a certain point in your rise, you will look around and notice that the circle has shrunk. The gatherings feel foreign. The conversations feel shallow. The things that used to occupy your mind feel irrelevant. And there is a specific loneliness in that awareness, a cold, clean loneliness that no one prepares you for. Most people, when they feel this, make a strategic error. They retreat. They re-enter the old environments to relieve the discomfort of isolation. They dial down their intensity to reintegrate with people who are operating at the previous level. They trade elevation for belonging. And then they wonder why their momentum died. The psychological truth is this: you cannot operate at a new frequency while maintaining full integration with your previous environment. The two states are incompatible. You must choose. And most people choose belonging because it is immediately warm, and growth is immediately cold. The short scenario: you have been training for 6 months. Your mindset has shifted. You see differently. You think differently. You are operating with a discipline and intentionality that most people in your circle find uncomfortable. You go to a social gathering. The conversation is noise. The energy is dispersive. You feel the pull to perform the old version of yourself to fit. And if you do, if you re-enter that performance, You spend 3 days afterward feeling the specific shame of having betrayed your own becoming. The observation, the isolation is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is right. It is confirmation that you have genuinely changed, not just declared change. Discomfort is not a signal to reverse direction. Discomfort is confirmation that you are moving. Find the people who are building at the frequency you are building toward. Not the people who celebrate where you were. The people who are already where you are going. Until then, learn to be alone without being afraid of it. Learn to sit in the silence of your own becoming without filling it with noise that costs you clarity. Elevation is not always loud. Sometimes it is simply you, alone, building in the dark. If this resonates, subscribe. This channel is for people who are building something real. Number 6. They will return when you arrive. This is the final insult and the final education. When you have built the thing, when the results are undeniable, when the transformation is complete, when the evidence is visible, the people who disappeared, who doubted, who discouraged, who deployed soft sabotage disguised as concern, they will return. They will return with warmth. They will reference the history between you as though the middle chapters did not happen. They will take proximity to your result as evidence of their own value. They will say, "I always believed in you," without acknowledging the specific ways in which they did not. And here is where the final psychological test lies. How you respond to this return reveals everything about who you have become. The weak man lets them back in immediately because the return feels like vindication. He uses their renewed interest as proof that he made it. He grants access as a form of victory. And in doing so, he hands back to them the exact leverage they lost. The man who has done the internal work receives them calmly. Not with bitterness. Bitterness would mean the wound was still open. But with the particular clarity of someone who has completed a chapter and is not confused about what happened in it. You do not owe access to the result to people who worked against the process. The power reframe, who you let into the victory matters as much as the victory itself. You spent years building clarity about who you are and what you are building. Do not dissolve that clarity at the finish line to relieve someone else's guilt. Be gracious. Be calm. Be deliberate. But be honest about the ledger. Comment, not everyone who left deserves to return. Now we arrive at the place this was always moving toward. You have been carrying a version of yourself that was built for survival, not for power. A version that learned to stay small to keep pace. That learned to apologize for its ambition. That learned to manage other people's psychology at the cost of its own development. That learned to keep the ceiling low so that no one in the room felt threatened. That version of you was not weak because you were broken. It was weak because it was designed for an environment that no longer exists. And that version must die. Not metaphorically. Not gently. It must be executed with the same deliberate precision with which you are building everything else. Every time you shrink to keep someone comfortable, you are keeping that old version alive. Every time you explain your ambition to someone who has decided to misunderstand it, you are resuscitating what should already be gone. Every time you delay the move, soften the standard, lower the demand, you are choosing the corpse over the future. The old version of you was loyal to people who were loyal to your limitation. The new version of you is loyal to the mission. And the mission has no room for the psychology of managed smallness. You stop asking for permission. Not because you have become arrogant. Because you have become clear. There is a difference. Arrogance needs to be seen. Power needs to build. You are no longer performing confidence for an audience. You are operating from a foundation that does not require their validation to be real. You execute weakness. Every morning. Every decision. Every time you feel the pull toward comfort over discipline, toward noise over silence, toward explanation over action, you execute it. You do not negotiate. You do not give it another chance. You recognize it, and you move. That version of you, the one that needed people to understand, that needed approval before action, that shrank in rooms where it sensed resistance, that version is not coming back. You shed it. Here. Now. This is who you are becoming. You are someone who sees the psychology of resentment and is not destroyed by it. You move through rooms where the envy is palpable and you do not slow down. You receive the manipulation disguised as care and you do not confuse love for strategy. You sit in the isolation of your own becoming and you do not fill it with noise. You let the process be silent, let the results be loud, and let the outcome do the speaking that your ego no longer needs to do. You are not building to be seen. You are building because the work demands it. Because something inside you recognized, at some level before language, that you were capable of more than your environment had asked of you. And that recognition is not arrogance. It is responsibility. The people who hate your winning are not your enemies. They are mirrors. Every one of them shows you exactly where you are not allowed to stop. Every resentment confirms the direction. Every attempt to pull you back confirms that you are pulling forward. Let them confirm the work. Let them be evidence that the transformation is real. And keep moving. You cannot go back to what you were. That version has already been left behind. What stands here now is someone who has seen the mechanism, named the pattern, and chosen, deliberately, irreversibly, to operate above it. This is not motivation. Motivation is temporary. This is architecture. Comment: the old version is gone.